Hello. Everything is completely alright.
But seriously, hey, how you doing? Welcome back to another story time that took place in high school. Because the older I grew, the more stale my life had become. So I'm doing a story time with a bit of The Sims 4 in the background. I wondered if I should make another Reddit video, but I didn't want my channel to get too repetitive since I already have another Reddit video up. I'm creating my Sim self for the first time ever because I'm a big fat narcissist, and honestly, why the hell not? I'm kidding, obviously. I generally dislike creating myself in any way, shape, or form, even drawing a self-portrait. Anyway, this video is all about me. So I hope you enjoyed the story time and me creating myself in The Sims 4. When I told my sister that I was gonna make myself and maybe the rest of the family, she was like, maybe you can just use us for your challenges. And I'm like, you know what? Our life already sucks. So if I do make us in The Sims, I'll just make us have a normal, happy life instead of a really crappy one. But I will be making another household that's specifically for challenges. I don't want to make a new household for every challenge or every Sims playthrough. I just want to go with one household that'll always be there and ready to go. Anyway, let's move on. The year was 2007. I had just become best friends with the new girl mentioned in another video. We had bonded over our love for anime, deviant art, several bands. She even told me that I was a character in her story, like a story that she used to write on deviant art because she was a writer on there as well as an artist. And I never really expressed interest. Nor have I ever looked into it. I was a character in her story. Yet it never occurred to me to f***ing read it. Why? Anyway, my bestie back then, the new girl, let's call her Jessica, introduced me to a lot of subcultures. The goth subculture, the emo subculture, the scene subculture, and the fandom subculture. We had become so close that people started to assume that we were twins somehow, even though she had hazel eyes and built much differently compared to me. I guess it's the same logic as when you spend a lot of time with someone, you somehow look alike, even though you don't at all, but you do look alike or act alike. There is something similar between the two. We don't know, but it's there. In fact, the reason why I have this kind of makeup on is because she and I used to put this kind of makeup on. Actually, we did it once. So yeah, we were the weird best friends, the outcasts of the class, the two emo slash goth girls that wore eyeliner to school. Like I said, wasn't that thick. You know what? Let me show you how thick it was. Obviously, at school, we didn't wear this much makeup. This was only when we went out, but it wasn't that much. And we did our own thing, like draw, which was weird, apparently, and wore band t-shirts under our uniforms. My eyesight has gotten 10 times worse after putting eyeliner, but okay. Notice how the things that I mentioned that we did were totally normal? Drawing? What's more normal than that? Wearing eyeliner? Normal as okay, we did listen to death metal, but hey, that's just a genre of music. Let's not act like we're having seances at her place and summoning demons, okay? Like, our records were fine. The only rules that we broke were really small and really insignificant in the grand scheme of things. It's not like we ever smoked in the bathroom, or skipped school, or even skipped class, or did anything that was considered insane or completely broke the rules. We didn't do anything of that sort. We were just two emo kids that minded our own business. But that's not how the school saw it. At some point, according to my school back then, our friendship became too weird and too disruptive to our own class. So by 8th grade, they had to separate us. I was talking about 7th grade. 8th grade came along and everyone's like, hell no, we can't bear being in a class with those two, so might as well just separate them. We had dove deeper into the goth and emo subcultures. And then my depression baby began to crown. This place isn't really a place for subcultures to begin with. I think the acceptance and love for subcultures happened recently, like maybe around 4 or 5 years ago. From my own perspective anyway, this place where I live, it's slow to opening up to newer subcultures like the emo, goth, and scene movement. And back then, I think she and I were the few. Like, it was booming in America, but over here, there weren't many that went against the grain. So when Jessica and I had gone against the grain, Lord knows what the school faculty said about the two of us. I honestly thought that we were safe within our own bubble and doing our own thing, but according to the reaction from third-party observers, that wasn't the case at all. And it had become clear to me that there were people talking about us and watching us closely. One day I was minding my own business, just, walking to class or walking from class, when the guidance counselor suddenly called me into her office. Me, not knowing how much scrutiny I was actually under, just went in normally, and I sat down at one of the chairs in front of her desk. I don't recall how the conversation started, but I remember how it went because she asked me something and I was like,
That you
excuse me. Question 1. Why are you friends with the devil?
Oh my god.
I honestly don't remember how I reacted. But because of how absurd the question was, it stayed with me until today. I mean, even back then as a child, it sounded stupid as so I just replied with, I'm not. Just like how any other sane person would reply. However, if I'm being completely honest, she seemed a bit unconvinced. I can still see her smug face in my head. Question 2. Why do you hate your mother? Girl, you don't live in my house. I mean, lady, I mean, woman. You don't live in my house. You don't know how things are with my mother. What? Also, what made her say that? I wish I knew what was the motive behind that question because it made no sense to me at all, even now. But I said, I don't hate my mom. Question 3. Why do you worship the devil? My answer, I don't. Because where did you get this idea that I do? Have you seen me doing some witchcraft somewhere? What are you, huh? However, she wasn't the only one that felt that way about me. She wasn't the only person in the school that had those assumptions about me, apparently. As a young adult, now I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, maybe they had good intentions in trying to reach out to me, but it was actually a bit antagonizing. I couldn't tell what their angle was back then and I can't till now. Like, I don't get it, I don't understand, that's all. But it wasn't friendly or caring. Then again, maybe it seemed that way with my brain. And I, personally, was a very quiet student. I kept to myself. I was never loud in class. I never even bothered to participate in class. I was just the weird quiet kid that became weirder as she discovered and delved into subcultures. But I never really did anything that was too extreme or anything that warranted such a huge reaction. But overall, they really went about it the wrong way, if I'm being completely honest. The takeaway from my actions or my makeup or my hair decisions back then was, we need to protect everyone else from this kind of behavior. As if I were spreading some sort of message from Lucifer himself. And also, apparently, while they were doing this investigation of me and my life, they had taken some of my artwork and noticed that there was some sort of subliminal messages in my art somehow, somewhere. Like, I was basically the Illuminati. Ugh, my impact. Also, what the fuck? Why are you taking my stuff? Why are you going through my shit and looking at my art? You have nothing to do with it, okay? I'm just drawing some weeb shit. Let me draw Sasuke in peace. As the days and the months and the weeks went by, the staff of the school had decided that the best outcome would be to have me transferred to a whole other school. Unfortunately, however, my mom couldn't afford putting me in a whole other school. Luckily, I was just transferred to the second branch of this same school. And way after the fact, way after moving into the new school, I had found out that there was a decision that actually had to be made in my old school. And the decision was, it's either I move out of the school or my best friend does, Jessica. And according to Jessica's mom, Jessica was never the way that she was before she met me. Honey, your child is the one that introduced me to these subcultures that I am now a part of. If anything, it should have been her that moved, not me. But I was literally blamed for everything. I was blamed for her behavior as well as my own. Talking about this again is just making me realize that they thought I was some sort of mastermind. They thought I was that powerful. I'm the Scarlet Witch, apparently. I can't convince another person to do the shit that they've done. Come on! Also, Jessica's mom, what the f***? It's not my fault you're not involved in your child's life and you think that I'm the one that manipulated her into being the way that she was. Newsflash, I'm not. So basically, when that hearing happened, it was Jessica's mom's word against my mom's word. Like, dude, why do you have to put my mom through this shit? And nothing was happening. I don't know what triggered this occasion to happen. I don't know what triggered them to have like a council meeting and decide whether kid A or kid B should move to another school because we're disrupting the other students. Also, which other students? Show me. Who? There was no other emo in school other than she, Jessica, and I. That's it. Just the whole argument is stupid as like, dude, take care of your students properly. They didn't even get my side. They just assumed about me, and it's like, bruh. But to be completely honest, that whole thing was a blessing in disguise because as soon as I moved to the new school, to the sister branch, I was instantly accepted. The people there were a lot more open to people that were against the grain and didn't look like the norm. Even after all the that went down, Jessica and I would still hang out. We were still best friends and I'd go over to her place a lot and I'd sleep over like all the time. But anyway, it's been like over 13, 15 years since I've last spoken to her. She was kind of sus, and her susness Satanist followed her until like adulthood, from what I remember from our last interaction on Facebook. But you know, I can't really talk about that. It's been years since I last spoke to her, so maybe if she grew out of that sus phase and she is more self-aware and is more aware of others being aware of her, if that makes sense. And there it is. The story of me getting kicked out of middle school because of some dumb assumptions.
I'll let myself out.
By some paranoid adults that don't understand internet subcultures. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this story time. Did anything as bizarre as this ever happen to you? Were you ever kicked out of your school or your university, or just kicked out of anywhere in general, even home, for a stupid ass reason? Let me know in the comments. I'm looking forward to your stories. All my socials are in the description box below if you want to follow me anywhere, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Also, oh my god, I hope that you like my sim self. And I hope you think that she looks like me. I put like a photo of myself beside the thing so I could create myself.